That's us. That's actually us. I mean, this is us, that we're just saying, boy, we kind of wish that Mark Hamill had a chance to meet with Han Solo, and he didn't get to. And apparently, Mark Hamill feels the same way. Luke and Han should have met. They should have met up. But no, that is a flaming garbage can. Evidently, that is a flaming garbage can. One second here. Zach, you in here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. All right. First, I want to go back to you and talk about this Neal Adams thing, and we'll get back to Mark Hamill in a second.
Oh, you got Mark Hamill on the show?
No. I wish I did. I'm not that big yet. One day. No. We're talking about here's what I want to talk about. Here's what I've been thinking about today. I'm thinking about the general disrespect that SJWs have for people who are older than them in the industry that they profess to care about.
That is the biggest thing. I mean, the weird thing is this. I've been doing this shtick where I talk to 2017 Zack and I act like he's a different person, and I'll tell him to go walk around the block when I start getting angry. So I'm kind of still like have those attack instincts. But the main thing I kept saying is like, I'm not angry at Neal. I'm angry at the people who bullied him. I mean, the guy's 75 years old. He's still doing the convention circuit. He's trying to make him money for his family. And these people, I've told a story about night letters from Afghanistan. Night letters is when the Taliban, they pin something to the outside of your door. They do it for two reasons. Number one, to terrify you, but also to terrify every single other person, because they see it pinned to your door. They know that the Taliban's got their eye on you, that they warned you. Now, the thing about night letters is they come during the night. This night letter came during the day. It was last night, but then basically today he was educated by the same, usual suspect psychopaths. And this 75-year-old man had to, bend the knee. He had to. This guy, it's not like he's. How do you say it? He was basically the first modern comic book artist. Everyone used to draw like Kurt Schaffenberger or whatever that guy. Like just three.
Swan, Jack Kirby. I mean, all these guys. The generation right before Neal Adams and the influential guys, they all drew alike. And then Neal came out and said, comics can be so much more.
Yeah.
We can make them more sophisticated.
This guy should be an elder statesman, held in respect. And what we got is the same 12 psychopaths who barely read comics, barely know who this guy is. Hey, you don't want to be one of those people. You don't want to get it out that you support them. Oh, I know the person who books for these 12 conventions. I know this person, that person. Do you really want your legacy to be X, Y, and Z? Yeah. Well, there's no. Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry for cursing, but
no, go
that's
ahead.
why he's gonna pop smoke in the within 18 hours.
That's the end of his livelihood. Like what he's doing now. And by the way, I mean, I've been saying this all along. The comic book industry. I don't know if you agree with this or not at this point, but the comic book industry has about 5 years left in it. And there's still a few or less. Yeah, there's still just a handful of ways that you can kind of squeeze a little money out of it. You can like wringing out a sponge. And that's what Marvel Comics is doing right now. That's what a lot of these, they produce these comic books. They send out like a brand new comic book with 4 different variant covers on it. There's no demand for this book at all, but they put out 4 variant covers in the hopes that, people will buy the same book 4 times. But the other way to do it is to go to conventions and do some sketches, sell some prints. Maybe you get paid for your signature if you're someone special, definitely like Neal Adams is. He charges $50 for his signature. And he gets it too. So, these are just the last lingering ways to make a living in comics, Zach. And, this guy caught a whiff that that might be taken away from him.
Yeah.
If he looked
it's scary. Yeah. Especially this, I'm just guessing his age is 75. He might be older. But can you imagine you're 75, you've been in an industry, you helped create the modern industry, and then people explain to you, no, you can be destroyed in 24 hours. Everything can collapse. Obviously, if he's on the convention circuit, he's still got bills. It's like a family business as far as I've heard. The Adams is. They're all in the art business, and anyone can see 12 poorly written hit pieces and say, wow, that can be done on me in the next month. Because what they really do is they write one hit piece and all the other ones just reference to the original one.
That's right. That is the harassment. I tweeted something out. I just said, this is what the organized harassment consists of. It consists of a bunch of SJWs who have contacts within what is basically the tabloid pop culture media, tabloid media. And they're able to write poorly researched, dishonest articles that slander you. And they're able to do it over and over and over again because they're all connected. It's an octopus with a bunch of different arms going out in different directions. They will all write stories based on that one central story that this is the harassment. That's what it is. This is just the harassment campaign. And they're able to flood Google with all these dishonest articles about you, telling people that your entire life is about harassing women, about harassing gays and trans and people of color. And then before you know it, those articles are being used as proof that the harassment campaign against you, which the articles consist of, the articles are.
Exactly. Yeah. Do you remember there was a period where, the first couple ones, we all make like 5 videos on each one of them. And then at some point, the time that's like the 15th one, you go, I'm not even that angry. And then when you get the 30th one, you go, why are they on the 30th hit piece? Well, what is the first page of Google results? What is the default setting? It's usually about 25 or so. So they basically, and these people collude all day long. They say, let's get enough hit pieces so the entire first page of any search on you is nothing but these hit pieces that all refer to each other. And like you said, they're all interconnected. So yeah, so a 75-year-old man who's at a convention every 3 weeks, schlepping on the airport and the airport shuttle and all that type of stuff. And it's a family business, and they go, hey, we need you to bring in, to support himself and like 4 adults. He's got to have to bring in like $500,000-$600,000 a year from his everything, all his income streams. And they can't afford for that to go down by, losing 10 conventions a year, 20 conventions a year.
And that's what they were threatened with. I mean, somebody like Neal Adams threatened with the loss of, his livelihood, what's left of it. He can't keep doing Batman books.
And then look at his initial statement. He just goes, I've heard that there's some kind of harassment of a certain time or discrimination. I did a video earlier. There's every discrimination of every type in every single industry. Imagine 18 hours later, you say, well, we finished our investigation. Amazingly, comic book industry is the one industry without political discrimination. Like how bald-faced and humiliating is that? It's like learn Morse code and start blinking SOS with your eyelids.
Well, the general feeling that I got from this, honestly, is that as I looked at Neal Adams' initial tweet and I looked at the responses to it, I saw Comicsgate saying, Neal, save us, and it's just like, it was so sad. Like, it's a sad thing. It's like, Neal, save your industry, save this hobby, save us. We're your fans. We're your children. We're your grandchildren. Save us.
I mean, as soon as I saw the first couple of responses from the usual suspects, we started running a poll with me and my friends. I go, when is he going to reverse this? And I gave him a 50-50 because he's got a reputation as a hard case. Mm-hmm. He went up against DC and Warner Brothers, and he got a credit for Siegel and Schuster. He tried to start a union in the 70s. It didn't work, but he helped get returnable art, he's stood up before. But the thing is, he's always stood up to reasonable people, hard cases, but reasonable people, the executives. He's never stood up to a couple dozen psychopaths. You know what I mean?
we're
Like,
used to it at this point.
yeah, like imagine everything we've gone through in the last 2 years. Imagine you got it condensed into 4 hours. You
Yeah.
would say your own name isn't your own name.
Mhm.
You would say, just what do I have to say to make this go away? Okay, I'll say something ridiculous. There's no political discrimination of any kind in comic book industry. I have determined that within 18 hours. There, am I
Quick
good?
way to make it stop. Yeah, that's going to make it stop right away. What do I
Yeah.
need to say? Let me just say it, and then whatever you want me to say, I'm going to say it times 1,000. Let me exaggerate it. Just leave me alone. And I don't blame anyone for that. I don't blame.
No, I don't
him for
blame them
that.
at all.
But I mean, that
And,
is
and who are we going to? I think it's going to be. And the thing is, we used to say, oh, some people are holding out. Oh, some people are, they're staying neutral. It's going to be everyone. This year, we're going to get Frank Miller. We're going to get Jim Lee. Everyone's going to get pushed because these people are. What's up?
You think this year they're going to make this final push to get everyone who's anybody to come out against Comicsgate?
Yeah, they're absolutely addicted. I mean, you saw they tried the thing with Dan Panosian. They tried this thing with Neal Adams. There's no these people fire bullets that cost them no money. They fire them automatic. They don't really have to aim. You just fire them all day long, every day.
I no longer care. I mean, this is the thing about this. It was sad to watch Neal Adams. All right. I mean, I compare this all the time to the mainland has been overtaken by zombies. There are a few people who are left, and we're already, we're out to sea, Zach. We're in a boat with our people. We're in the Ark. And we just watched Neal kind of Neal just sort of go, wait, something's wrong. There are zombies. Well, we better do something about it. And then
he's that small town sheriff, Oh, there's a couple of drunks in the park. I can handle things. I've had this badge on for 50 years. I can handle it all. No, you can't handle. By the way, I like. Remember 10 years ago when the zombie thing got really big with all the shows and everything, and then everyone started doing the "What's your zombie preparation guide?" And me and my buddy, all of ours always involved the ocean. You need to get away from people. You need to get away from land, all that stuff. And then that, I've always said we got to build a spaceship. The mainland is overtaken. You got to go out to sea. You got to go out to space. Nobody can handle anything that's being done. It's past the point of no return. So it's going to be Jim Lee. It's going to be they'll probably get Chris Claremont. Just everyone they can get.
I can't wait. It's going to be fun. This year's going to be really, really fun. I felt like it was going to be over. I felt like this, the whole anti-Comicsgate thing. I thought these people were going to kind of settle down because we're not even really trying to associate with them anymore.
No,
we're doing our own thing. But no, they're after us from a distance. Even though we've said, okay, all right, you've got your comic book industry. They know the comic book industry is dying. Can you imagine what it'll be like, when the comic book industry is this close to extinction and we're still flourishing? They can't allow that. I mean, that's humiliating.
Yeah, they'll move on to the next industry because they're not even interested in this one. They'll well, do you remember 2 months ago? Hey, everyone's like, go to anime, go to manga. It's safe. Nothing. They don't accept this type of stuff. 1 month later, everyone's like, oh, anime's done. Anime's falling up. Anime fell apart faster than comics did.
Yeah. 1
month, the whole thing collapsed.
Well, that's what we say. I mean, SJWs will invade every. The sturdier the platform appears to be. And we just said this about the MCU as well. I mean, Marvel Comics Cinematic Universe is so prosperous, and these people are like Mars Attacks. It's like, nice planet, we'll take it. And they move in and they kind of just use that platform to again set up shop and do what they do, which is to slowly dismantle it, leaving everybody who loved it to just go, what the hell is going on? How did this happen? It's going to happen over and over and over and over again. Pathetic. So, I'm really excited about one thing. Zach, I mentioned this to you, but I'm going to do it. I rebuilt the Cyberfrog Blood Honey campaign.
So I was very interested. I was asking you some questions. Are you reopening the first one or starting another one?
Starting another one. It's the same book. It's just got a different cover on it. And I had to rebuild the whole thing. Have you done this before? You have to copy your campaign essentially. Let me show you.
Yeah, I mean, I did a charity of Iron Sights, and I just copied like the easiest stuff and put it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So you're launching tomorrow.
I'm launching tomorrow at noon. I don't know a better way to fight back against these people. I'm finishing up Cyberfrog Blood Honey, and while I'm doing it, let's raise some more money, and that'll keep me preoccupied for a little while.
I know we battle about this a lot, and I always say it's not about fighting them. It's just about being successful, and the customers want it. What did you jump up like 20,000 subscribers in the last 2 or 3 months? A lot of them are new. They didn't know about this campaign. They want it. So I'm buying a second one to get that cover. If you do the one I saw that they're doing the DAP.
Yeah, the fist bump. Yeah. I had to put this together just with images that were on my hard drive on my Alienware computer. Like everything is on my iPad. I might fix it. I might put other imagery up. But yeah, listen, my channel's grown by 53,000 subscribers since this was going on, since it was initially going on. So I feel like I do have to do it. This is what we need to do. I love when you and me, I love when John Malin, I love when Doug Tenaple, I love when we have new campaigns up. It's so they get so upset. It's so dispiriting to Anti-Comicsgate to watch us succeed. I don't know why they can't just be happy for us, Zach.
Like I said, I don't really consider that a factor. I'm just thinking about the customers that missed out, and then a lot of people, money's just tight, and they say, "Hey, you had it 4 months ago. Money was tight." I remember one time having to cancel a Kickstarter to get the $5 back. And I wrote him a little email. I was like, "Hey, man, I need that $5." But some people have it, and then the other thing is, a lot of people were kind of sitting on the fence. And they said, I didn't back Jawbreakers but then I saw you guys finish it. So now I'm going to do your next one. So, Jawbreakers has come out. Graveyard Shift has come out. So, it'll kind of probably loosen up some money and people go, oh, this is real. They're not just going to take it and go off to Costa Rica.
No. Yeah, I hear constantly from people that they missed out the first time. So, and how do we get it? And I've said, well, it'll be attached to Rainbow Brute, I don't know if that's such a good idea. Let's just do it separately.
Exactly. Just do it separately. Cause I started doing that thing. It's like, and I've tried out some ideas, and people just say, make things distinct and then bring it back. If, you miss out, we already talked to me and John Malin talked about it. So I'm going to do a second printing of Jawbreakers Lost Souls about a month or so from now. And it's going to be remastering some of the print file with some stuff I learned, tweaking the print file a lot. But it's, what's it going to be for? It's going to be for us to make money and for people to buy something they like. That's what it's for. That's the mutual success of capitalism.
Does it have anything to do with making fun of SJWs for you at all?
Absolutely nothing.
For me, it does. I want to show them. I want to show these people how to succeed. I want to show these people that they can't stop us. I want to show these people that they can be gossips. They can be cruel. They can try to destroy Republicans and comics. They can try to destroy Comicsgate all they like, and they'll fail every single time, Zach. They'll fail. We will always succeed. We'll always win because we're the good guys. And that's important to me. That's something that means something to me. I can't allow these people to think that they've won. I can't allow these people to think that they win ever by doing the tactics that they do. They were able to just beat Neal Adams into submission. They're
18 and a half hours.
18 and a half hours. That proud man who who has his own theories about everything. Like, this is a free thinker. This is a guy who I think believes in the hollow earth. Like,
it's actually expanding Earth.
expanding earth.
I thought he believed in hollow Earth as well. Expanding Earth is kind of interesting. It basically says the core of the Earth is a furnace that creates matter, and the Earth gets bigger because of it. Which I don't know if that means people on the surface are also getting bigger, or, because obviously we'd notice, you're driving from Philadelphia to, New York City when you were a kid. It took 3 hours. Now it takes 4 hours. Somebody's going to say, hey, do you think the Earth's expanding? It feels like it's bigger now.
Well, there would be cracks, wouldn't there? There'd be cracks in the.
Well, no, it's matter being created.
Oh.
So it's like you don't have, it's like growing from a child to an adult. The Earth is actually growing.
Yeah. All right, I want to show you this other thing, Zach. This will bother you too, I think, because you love Star Wars. I know that you do. All right, so Mark Hamill comes out, Zach, and he just says, look, I think the Disney Star Wars, I think they kind of blew it because Han Solo, Princess Leia, and Luke Skywalker never got together. And that's a cardinal sin. Do you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those things of why would you not do it? Yeah, I know the whole dumb subvert expectations thing, but I mean, not to be too morose, but Carrie Fisher was on her last few years of life, obviously, like when they started negotiating for this. And, don't play around, get them all together and don't have them be divorced. Why do they put divorce into... I love the mask, the Zorro movie with Antonio Banderas. That first one, I've watched that thing 75 times. And then I've never watched the sequel because it says, Zorro and his wife are divorced and now she's fighting crime. You're like, what? Who wants to see that?
Yeah, it's not pleasant. Like, don't people want to have a good time? I mean, don't you want to imagine that Han and Leia lived together? Han Solo was able to get out of his grubby lifestyle of being a pirate and a smuggler, and he was able to become royalty. He married Princess Leia. He would be a politician or something like that. He would be, I don't know, he could change the face of politics. I
see him more as like the Larry Fortensky of Star Wars. Do you remember Larry Fortensky?
No.
He was the truck driver who married what's her name? You watch all those old movies. The one with the sapphire eyes.
The one with the sapphire eyes. I don't know what you mean. Oh,
the actress.
Oh, Elizabeth Taylor?
Elizabeth Taylor. Yeah, he was a construction worker who married Elizabeth Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
And then she would get him dressed up for, red carpet events, but supposedly he was still doing contracts.
See, that's a bad analogy because everyone married Elizabeth Taylor. And they didn't stay married long, so that's actually pretty apt, All right, so let me just show you this, Zach. This is what these people are doing. All right. Now, Mark Hamill says, I really feel crushed by all of this. Feel crushed by it. And of course, the SJWs in Star Wars are going, hey, Twitter, stop fueling this already flaming trash can of fandom. Considering how much Mark Hamill has been going on about it, can't imagine it would have happened. Also, can't imagine he's happier with episode 9 than he was with The Last Jedi. Look at this. I muted him, so I haven't seen anything from him. Bliss, you're talking about Mark Hamill. You muted Mark Hamill. What the fuck? I mean, considering how much Mark Hamill has been going, okay, considering how much I loved everything he disliked, that might actually be good news that he doesn't like episode 9. If I was being paid millions and millions of dollars for a role I played 40 years ago and still charging £100 for my signature at conventions, I wouldn't constantly complain about my career being revived. But maybe that's just me. The disrespect, the unbelievable disrespect of these people, Zach.
Everyone is disposable. Everyone. Literally, the stars of Star Wars are disposable. If you ever come between, them and the message, the propaganda. Mark Hamill kind of wanted like a happier ending and the trio together. Oh, he doesn't like that? Garbage person.
Garbage human being. Yeah.
Mark Hamill is canceled.
Canceled is, yeah, everyone gets canceled and unperson. Same here. It's not like I planned on interacting with many of these people, so I do it on my own. I do it to keep my anger and frustration in check. He's so freaking predictable and dull at this stage. Mark Hamill. I kind of feel like the bringing the original trilogy cast into The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Listen to this, Zach. Robbed the new characters of a lot of screen time.
Oh God! First of all, they were in most of the screen time, and I like Finn. I like Oscar Isaac's character. That's basically it.
I think that what these people don't understand, and I understand that probably these are young people. The reason why The Force Awakens did box office, and it did very well. I mean, $2.3 billion is nothing to sneeze at. But the reason why it did that is because it promised to get these characters together again. They were on the movie poster. Nobody cared about Finn or Poe or, Rey or Rose Tico. People cared about seeing Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and Princess Leia again. That is the only reason people went to these movies. And the idea, look, hopefully he has a tiny role in episode 9, she says. Oh, they better hope not. They better hope, Disney better hope he has a huge role in episode 9, because there ain't nobody left.
Are they still pretending that Rian Johnson trilogy is still happening?
Yeah.
When are they going to stop pretending?
I don't know. And I feel like it's possible at this point. I feel like it's possible that it could happen, Zach, because they opened up a production company for it. Now they do this all. Yeah, they do this all the time. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean anything. But the fact that they did it, 6 months ago, means that, 6 months ago, they were still kind of planning on doing this trilogy. Now, that happened at the same time, roughly, that, your girl, Catherine Kennedy, got her contract extended by 3 years. So it might have been a move of defiance. It might have been something that Kathleen Kennedy specifically asked for. But at this moment, as far as we know, Rian Johnson is on deck following the Game of Thrones trilogy. The guys from the Game of Thrones, they're making the next 3 movies. And they're making stuff up because it's going to have nothing to do with the Empire. It's going to have nothing to do with the First Order, nothing to do with the Skywalkers. It's going to have to be something that's brand new. And I don't know how you do that with Star Wars.
I don't see it happening. I think all that stuff's vaporware. I don't even think I don't even think they got offices. I think this is just all on paper.
Well, I mean, the next trilogy, I'm sure, is going to happen with DB Weiss or whatever his name is. Those guys, they are definitely doing a trilogy, and they're doing it. They're making up new stuff, and I really wish that they would just. So, I mean, Disney has a lot. Disney could just go right back to the prequels and do the Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy with Ewan McGregor, and just say that this takes place in between episodes 3 and 4. And they could get a lot of mileage out of that. You don't care, do you? You don't even like Star Wars that much anymore.
I used to, but it's just, I like the Clone Wars, but it felt like Clone Wars was the end. That was, if George Lucas is not involved, it's not really Star Wars. They didn't even create one new thing.
I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I'm excited about J.J. Abrams episode 9, and everyone.
Oh yeah, it's good. He's good. I like pretty much everything he does. I was just watching the dopey Star Trek from 10 years ago, and until the last 30 minutes, I was enjoying that.
I hate all Star Trek, and I actually like that. So I don't know if that's I don't come out and say that, because it's like, well, yeah, you hate Star Trek, so what do you know? But I do hate Star Trek, and I actually like those movies. The 2 that I saw, I thought they were pretty good.
Weren't you gonna do a Star Trek comic one time?
Yeah, that was the one. You know what? That's the one time I quit a job. It was for IDW, and I rage quit. It was Green Lantern versus Star Trek, and so they reached out to me, and listen, I was used to working for DC Comics. There's a certain kind of professionalism and sort of just a bored competence. I would say, at DC Comics. Yeah, we've done this. We've been doing this for decades, and this is no different than anything else. At IDW, there was a sense of panicked confusion about everything.
Oh yeah.
People were not speaking straight to me about what I needed to do and when. There was a lot of sort of, hey, take your time and, we'll get back to you with you. I'm like, hey, do I need photo reference for who's on the cover? You guys have that? Well, I don't know. Just draw something and we'll take a look at it. What the fuck? So I drew like the Green Lantern Corps and, the Enterprise and, big heads of Star Trek, guys. And they got it and they went, wait a second. No, these guys aren't in it. Like, these guys aren't in it. And I was like, well, that you could have answered that question when I asked you. Like, you basically told me to just wing it, And so I drew what I wanted to draw. Yeah. Try again. Take your time, though. And then, like, 2 days later, panicked phone call from this woman, this editor. Where is it? Where's the sketch? I'm like, I haven't. I put it down. I haven't gotten back to it yet. We need it now. I'm like, you know what? Put me on with. And I spoke to somebody, and I think it might have been that dude, Chris Rial. It might have been Chris Rial that I spoke to. And I said, listen, so arrogant, Zach. I said, listen, I've never done this before, but I fucking quit. You people are nuts. I can't work like this. Like, to do this cover for Star Trek Green Lantern, I kind of had to set aside 2 days to work on it. And those days got eaten up by a lot of, like, sort of, I don't know, well, whatever. And now here we are, like, a week later, and there's panic. And I didn't know that we were panicked. And fuck this. It's like, I'm not going to bang this cover out real quick when I'd already set aside 2 days to do this, and they got eaten up by waffling. I said, "This is your company is incompetent."
Those indies that they grab like every license they can get. It's the most insane business plan because they have to get approval, and then the movie studio doesn't care. So the John Wick thing, they took like almost 2 years to do 6 issues, and they're all terrible. And I was basically told it's because they're not allowed to draw it, and they'll wait for approval for 3 months, and then all of a sudden the artist has like 1 week to draw an entire comic.
Wow,
absolute. And even all those companies, like, you're paying for a license, and then your comic is selling 5,000 copies.
I will.
How do you make that work?
Yeah, it doesn't work. There are a lot. I think companies that buy licenses or that rent licenses out to do comics of. I mean, you're just flushing money right down the toilet. I mean, you're feeding these people. Dynamite took Rainbow Bright. Listen, nobody could make Rainbow Bright sell except for me. There is nobody on the face of the earth that could do a Rainbow. Well, maybe like if you gave it to J. Scott Campbell and he did a teenage sexy version of it, something like that. But no, just to draw the book straight, I'm the only one who could make that book work. It's not going to work. What are you doing paying, $50,000 for this? What are you doing?
And they're doing this to like 20 different properties at a time. It's just, you're just basically living off of credit cards. That's what you're doing.
You're much better off creating your own IPs. There's much more flexibility. There's much more future growth when you're not paying rent, which is what this is. This is just endlessly renting other people's apartments and hoping that, I don't know what's the future in this. You're not.
And you don't even get to do like impactful stories. You got to tell stories in between 2 other stories that can't change them or predict them in any way.
Mm-hmm. No, you have to get their approval.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like, hey, Hallmark, the leader of Comicsgate, wants to do Rainbow Bright. What do you think of that? They're going to say no, even though I have the very best ideas for Rainbow Bright. They tell them that, and it's going to be a big fat no. And they're going to want to control every single thing that you have to do, every single aspect of this. And that's why it doesn't work. And yet, Zach, G.I. Joe with Aubrey Sitterson. Explain that.
That's the kind of stuff that gets me in trouble. I'll just say it's dumb idea squared. We want we want to sell military comics to the Antifa crowd. Okay. They should have done, Cobra throwing rocks at GI Joe on a Veterans Day parade. Like that. Just commit to the freaking bit.
Yeah, can you imagine though? I mean, here's the thing. Once again, hey, diversity, the guy from Diversity in Comics, Comicsgate. He wants to do G.I. Joe. Is there anyone aside from Larry Hama that could actually do G.I. Joe better than you?
I mean, there are, but it's just one of those things where,
Your heart's in it, dude.
What's up?
Your heart's in it, though.
Well, basically what I did is, because I remember way before everything got nuts and I was just first getting a little bit of notoriety, but things hadn't completely gone insane. I was talking to you about licenses and you're always telling me, just do your own thing, just do this. And so, I mean, I feel like I did G.I. Joe and I did Team 7 and I did all the things I liked when I did Jawbreakers. I'm going to work on Jawbreakers forever. And, I don't have to get approval. I don't have to give someone a cut. I just do whatever I want. And then I make it, more of what I want. So I totally feel like I've done G.I. Joe.
When do you think you're going to show people preview art from Jawbreakers 2? Because I've seen it and I saw that new piece you sent over. Splash page.
Oh, yeah. It's I think I'm going to do it a little different and it's all going to be like a week before I launch and then reveal stuff not reveal as much stuff as I did last time. And then the whole thing is it's going to be done. Like it's going to be done. I used to say 95% done. And I was like, what does that mean? I go 95% done means all of the pages and cover are done. And I'm just tweaking the print file or I'm paying someone who knows how to do print files to tweak it. And by the way, I'm also getting physical proofs on all future books. I was actually discouraged from that by the printer for Iron Sights. They said nobody gets physical proofs anymore.
Why not? Why did they? Well, I mean, I guess the advantage would have been that you'd be able to paw through the actual thing, and then I think you said there was a blur or something like that you weren't happy with.
Yeah, well, on Jawbreakers, some of the pages, it's not a blur. It's this weird thing. It's kind of like it's burned, and then there's some weird. It's called artifacting on the letters. And it's one of those things where I'm just going to pay the actual printer to do it. It was I would always rather pay a friend to do something, but and the person I got was very honest. The person did Iron Sights, and it all looked perfect. But then we went to a different printer, and they had a very different style, and they needed what is it called? InDesign. And this guy didn't know it InDesign. Really great guy. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus, but it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, hey, I'm just going to go with their in-house.
Yeah,
guys, but I'm still going to get the thing. They've been good. It's all a learning process, but I think the first place didn't want to do it because they got to set up the whole print press to do one book. And you pay like $300 for it, but I think it's just annoying to them. So they go, you're fine. And that book was actually okay. But then the other one, the printing would have helped. So yeah. So that book is, it's going to be completely done. I'll probably start showing stuff about a week ahead of time. I'll do 1 month of a campaign. And then I'll do, once the campaign is done, then I'll basically, it'll do 1 month of in demand, but it's going to go to the printer as soon as I finish the campaign. I'm just going to extrapolate from however well it does. I'm going to say, print another 1,000, and then the in-demand store will be open until I sell out of those. That's the plan right now. So the new Jawbreakers, Jawbreakers God King, that'll be like June.
How come God King is spelled with zeros and ones?
Oh, because he's a technological, based villain.
I can't wait. And by the way, guys, I've seen some pages, and I gotta say, it looks unreal. Here's the thing: it doesn't take long for someone like you, somebody who actually loves comics, who's been commenting on comics, and I've said over and over again, you are the most important voice I don't just say this because we're pals. I mean, I really do mean it. And I've said it to people who other people would be scared to say this to. You are the most important voice in comics of this generation. And I'm positive that you don't feel that way about yourself. But you are. And somebody like you, it's not going to take long for you to sort out how to become one of the best comic book publishers, writers, publishers in comics right now. You're going to surpass the mainstream because I think you understand uniquely what is wonderful about comic books, and always has been, more so than the people right now who are making these desperate. And Zach, I think these decisions that are being made by companies like DC and Marvel right now are desperate. I think these are decisions that are based on the bottom line, and yet extracting as much quick cash as they can from what's left of the industry.
It's all short money. It's all short money, and the short money is the sucker money. That's the loser plan. Yeah, there's let me keep my job for one more quarter. But weirdly enough, I mean, I honestly think of us as the mainstream, and them as just this dying, crashing thing. I mean, we're doing heroes fighting bad guys in exotic locations, and just all the stuff. Did you see the video I did? The Marvel Has Fallen Will Break Your Heart thing.
That was the best video you've done in a year.
I think it's the best one I ever did ever, and there's getting a lot of comments. But I was getting emotional reading that. I'm trying not to be like Kevin Smith crying, every time another episode of The Flash comes out. But when you compare a Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers story from 2019 to 1981, it is shocking. The industry has fallen so much that they are literally accepting anything, and they're not even trying. And the thing is, they're so proud of themselves, infinitely proud of themselves. Whereas back in the day, they're doing this fantastic stuff, and they've destroyed everything. They destroyed it all. And we're trying to.
What happened to this idea that heroism is a struggle? You pointed this out so amazingly. Now you reviewed Avengers Annual number 10, which I think was the first appearance of Rogue. It was a very desirable book, right? You got to.
I could never afford it back in the day because they didn't have. You couldn't do Comixology, so I never read that.
Yeah,
30 years of collecting, I could never afford it because it was always a premium price. Because it wasn't just the first appearance of Rogue, but it was actually also the first appearance of Madeline Pryor. Weirdly enough, the Goblin Queen, and she's like a 10-year-old in it. I still don't understand that at all. I think she went down to limbo and then she aged there. They used to do that a lot in the X-Men. People would age up.
Yeah. So Franklin Richards never did. Never did. He remained 4.5 forever. But these people. Look, we had Avengers number 10. First of all, it was a $50 book for me, so I never had it either. It was always hanging on the wall with a $50 price sticker.
Oh yeah,
museum. Just forget it. But Michael Golden artwork. Michael Golden, the precursor, the guy that Todd McFarlane ripped off. Really, if you look at that work now, and you can go back and just see where Todd McFarlane came from.
Dude, I've always read that G.I. Joe Annual 2, and I always thought that was the best Michael Golden artwork. And it was more refined, but that Avengers Annual, I understand why it was $50 in 1989.
Worth
and they never reprinted that thing ever. I don't think they ever reprinted it. Oh, gosh, it was so expensive. But it was just fantastic. And that was one of the best, maybe the best Chris Claremont story I ever read. That ending is absolutely devastating.
Yeah, it just, here's the thing, and you point this out brilliantly in your video, and I recommend that everybody go watch it. It's a video that what's it called? What's the title?
It says, approximately, it's like, when I show you how far Marvel Comics has fallen, it will break your heart. Yeah.
So this is, Zack points out a couple of things, and first of all, he's going through this new issue of Captain Marvel. They've relaunched Captain Marvel for a 9th time in the last 5 years, Zack. This is the 9th
complete series. Trash. It was literally selfie and I'm amazing. They said, "What would you say to yourself as a child?" And she's like, "Girl, you're amazing." Like that was it. That was a $4 comic. And the thing that made me even more angry is I looked up what inflation was. I always assumed that $4 was in tracking with inflation.
Yeah.
It's not. A 75-cent comic these days would be $2.09. And that was 48 pages of Michael Golden art for the equivalent of $2 right now.
Labored over artwork by Michael Golden, inspired artwork. And the thing that I think that was really impressive about your video, and this is something, again, this is why I tell people that you are the most important voice in comics, because you get it. And other people might notice it, but not be able to put it into words. What is wrong? What's wrong with these comics? This issue of Captain Marvel featured Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, facing off against an armada of spaceships and just basically being like, I can handle this, no problem.
Yeah.
And then again, she easily dispatches with the villain. And then she comes down, she takes a selfie with the crowd. This is a cliche, a trope of SJWisms. Everybody's taking a selfie, or there are people who want to take selfies with you. You're constantly being validated by everyone around you. Yeah. And then at the end of the book, they say, what would you, these two girls are like, I get to interview Captain Marvel. Oh my God. The idea that Captain Marvel is suddenly important in the Marvel universe is very strange to anyone who's been reading for longer than 5 years. But these women are excited about interviewing her, and they say, well, what would you tell your younger self? Now, if you've read Marvel Comics for 20, 30 years, there are a wealth of questions that somebody might ask Carol Danvers. And none of them, none of them would be, what would you tell your younger self? I would ask her all kinds of different questions about what it was like to be robbed, to be utterly, destroyed by Rogue. And what was it like not having an identity for so long and having someone else, like tons and tons of questions. But what would you tell your younger self? And she goes, I would tell her, you were right. You're right. So again, this, I don't understand SJWs and this. All right, before I say that, let me contrast it with what you were pointing out in Avengers Annual number 10. The scene opens with a woman committing suicide or falling off of San Francisco Bay Bridge, right? And she's falling to her doom. And here's Spider-Woman, who's a very limited, she's powerful, but she's limited in powers. She can't fly. She has gliders under her arms. And she swoops in and does what she can. It doesn't matter that she is not the ideal hero to save this woman's life. She's not Superman. She doesn't have a magic lasso. She's only got her limited power set. And still, she swoops down, grabs her in midair, and because the woman is so heavy, she can't maintain her glide, and she crashes into the water with the woman. And now the woman's unconscious, freezing, hypothermia setting in. Spider-Woman is also cold, hypothermia setting in, and she has to swim this woman to shore now. It
was the most dramatic thing, and that was one page. It was struggle. It was heroism. It was, empathy for the victim. There was mystery. There was trauma. It's insane. It was one page, and what would it have been today? She would have been
a whole issue. That would have been a 5-part mini.
And they would have been taking pictures. Oh, look at me. What's up? Golden Gate Bridge, selfie time. And it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah. Now this is the way Marvel Comics used to be, the way Stan Lee saw things initially. And this is not DC Comics. DC Comics is a whole different world of aspirational gods who can do anything, that have bigger problems. But the idea that like Spider-Woman is so close to who you are as if you're a young female reader, she's so close to who you are. She just has a couple of extra gifts, and she can't always do everything perfectly, but she struggles and she suffers because that's what a hero does. A hero struggles and suffers. A hero doesn't just come into contact with otherworldly threats and flex and just be like, this ain't no problem. Boom. What kind of message is that for kids these days? That things are going to come easy. Things need to come easy. You need to approach things with a smarmy, arrogant smirk. Like that ain't no problem. and then just tell yourself how wonderful you are all day long. When did that happen? When did that light switch get flipped, where it used to be like, hey, life is about a struggle, and you do the best that you can. You do the best that you can, and you put yourself, a hero puts himself or herself second and would sacrifice his or her life for just one single person who thought that their own life was so worthless that they threw themselves off of a bridge. And that's what Spider-Woman did. Spider-Woman saved a woman who thought she was so worthless that she risked her own life. That's the kind of hero that Marvel Comics used to offer readers. The lowest, the least of people who need your help are worth every ounce of your effort. And you can risk your life and perhaps die. And to have those two books together in one video, Zach, what a contrast.
The other thing that I kept thinking about the next day is that Avengers Annual, which was written with 10 to 12-year-old kids in mind. It was written for them. And the Captain Marvel is written for 30 to 40-year-old adults. And which one has more complexity? Which one has more respect for the reader's intelligence? It's definitely not Captain Selfie Time.
Yeah.
Like, it's embarrassing. They've literally flipped things. You used to have a child audience, and you would say, children are children, but they also are inquisitive and they're intelligent in their ways and they're growing. And then Captain Marvel is written for 35-year-old women. That's what it's written for. And it says, hey, 35-year-old woman, you can't handle anything. You have a baby brain and you just need constant validation or you're going to freak out. And it's kind of been a weirdly self-fulfilling prophecy. They've scared away everyone but that horrible. Why would you want that audience? You want emotionally immature 35-year-olds. Like, what the hell?
That's what this is now, isn't it? That's what Marvel Comics has become.
Yeah.
Are these comics meant to be read?
No, they're meant to be taking a picture. I mean, that one was not meant for anything but to generate a little bit more buzz. That terrible trash comic, which I don't even think is a miniseries. I think it's just a one shot. It was just to get one more story about Captain Marvel in the same month the movie was. Nobody cares about anything. There's zero care. In fact, to even care is kind of suspicious and looked down upon.
It just moves me, man. I really like, here's the thing. I got into this at a time when DC Comics, and you and I have never talked about this, but I got into comics at a time when DC Comics emphasized what it meant to be a hero. And I don't know if those lectures are being given anymore to freelancers. But I mean, when I got there, 1997, 1998, I started working at DC, and I had my dumb kind of 22-year-old ideas about what comic books should be from Cyberfrog. Ultra violent, sarcastic, flippant, no. All of that was beaten right out of me by guys like Mike Carlin, editor-in-chief over there. Back when DC was really great, Mike Carlin years. And they started to explain to you what it meant, what DC heroes meant. No, you'd say, well, what about, here's this story idea. What if Aquaman does this? And they'd say, no, that's not heroic. Aquaman can't do that because it's not heroic. It's not showing him in his best light. Aquaman, he might make mistakes, but ultimately, we need to show that he is self-sacrificing and heroic and noble, because those are the types of heroes that we tell stories about. Marvel heroes would be different. I mean, Marvel heroes would be about what would happen if you or I got superpowers and meant well. Now, I don't know, something like this Captain Marvel book is just a flippant, arrogant power fantasy for ninnies. And yes, I said ninnies, Zach. Dummies. People who constantly just need to feel like, they are superior, empowered. I mean, again, the word female empowerment, what does that even mean? Is that what this is? Is showing women a character that takes nothing seriously, can handle absolutely anything with her eyes blindfolded and one arm tied behind her back? Is that female empowerment?
No, it's a complete hatred and fear of women. It's looking at them as being mentally and emotionally inferior, and also being deeply afraid of them, and saying, "Let's give into our negative fantasy." Oh, just yeah, you're amazing. You're amazing. Everything's amazing. That Avengers Annual. First of all, half the characters are women. They never make any kind of big deal about it. And then the end, it's literally Carol saying, "I hate you all." Like none of you guys say, but she goes, "I hated you, but here's your chance to step up. Everyone makes mistakes." And then the end is just all the heroes, men and women. They're like, "Oh God, we really dropped the ball," and they have this like deep shame about letting one of their friends down. And it's all gone. It's all gone. There's no depth. What is Captain Marvel? Well, she's you. She's amazing. She's everything. Those are not descriptions. Those are cop outs.
Yeah.
This Carol had a very definite personality, and she was tragic, and she was heroic, and she was interesting. I never realized how interesting she was because I didn't have $50 for a comic in 1989.
Yeah, it's also Chris Claremont in his prime.
Oh,
again,
geez, yeah.
I don't know where the storytellers are now. I don't know where these guys are. I don't know where the writers are who are kept up nights. I mean, I used to work with one. I worked with Jeff Johns, and that guy, like, he would call me at 3:30 in the morning. Ethan, wake up, check this out. And I'd be like, I'd have to roll out of bed and go into the next room and be like, what's up? Yo. And that's how he would start a conversation. And it would just be like, what would happen if? And Jeff had been thinking about something, and he just had, his mind he just had another brilliant idea that we'd have to talk through. I don't think I've worked with too many people like him, and I've worked with quite a few. I don't know where these guys are who are trying to do something other than earn a quick paycheck. But Zack, I mean this very sincerely. I think that's you.
Dude, the Jawbreakers are with me in my mind all day long, every day. Because they're based on me. They're based on friends of mine. They're based on ideals, I've strived for. They're based on ideals that I've strived for and fallen very short. But they're with me all the time. They've been with me for 4 years since I created them. They're always going to be with me. Kwanzaa does not think about one of his characters ever, except for when he's typing it. And then they immediately, and you constantly feel how they don't care about their own characters. It's, like I said, caring is like this weird, stupid thing. They're all just trying to work in Hollywood. They know they're going to have to sell their characters. So you just throw everything. Oh, what if there was a reality show with superheroes? Oh, what if superheroes were fighting vampires? Oh, what if they were time travel? Just throw everything at the wall. You don't care about a single thing.
Yeah. No, I'm like you. Cyberfrog, and Salamandroid and Heather, they're all so important to me, and I think about them all day long. And I wonder what it was like for Heather to go through 20 years of this without Cyberfrog and seeing him again. And these are silly characters. You even told me you were just like Cyberfrog. Like, do something.
Yeah, I tried to take you. I wanted you to do your horror story.
Fearsome. Yeah, we'll do that. But it's
and I wanted you to draw Jawbreakers.
We'll get around to that too. We got a long way.
You know what though? I honestly don't think we would work well together.
We had this conversation yesterday. A fan actually said, I don't know if you were listening. A fan said, if you and Zack don't work together, all is wasted. And I kind of disagreed. I said, here's the thing. Like, first of all, the two of us really should be working separately to produce more product. But I don't know. I just think that we would, we're I don't know. Let me think about it.
I don't know. Well, I mean, Frank Miller drew for Chris Claremont, and I never thought that was going to work. And it worked. But it worked once, and they both found something that they both loved, which was, Japanese samurai stories. So they did that. But I think we also have different interests. And like I said, I would want my characters to kill your monsters. Mm-hmm. I just feel like they would kill them. But then you showed the Thundercroak, and then I was like, oh.
You were drunk when you said that. Zack messaged me drunk, and he was just like, I thought, how drunk were you? He goes, I thought that my Jawbreakers could kill Cyberfrog until I saw your Thunder Croak. I said,
Thundercroak is like the whole clap. Like you hurt people, you're not even touching them. Like
Cyberfrog could beat the Jawbreakers anyway
I
because
didn't. I just thought he was a weird monster. I always just imagined him just shooting him in a swamp, and he just lies there. I didn't understand he was like a Hulk
yeah,
type of
like
character.
he's built. He's got it in him to stop to turn back an alien invasion. So he's much bigger than he looks. But he's kind of like the Iron Giant at the end when he becomes a gun. You know, it's like that's what he's capable of, as long as he's hooked up to Chelsin, which he's not in Cyberfrog Blood Honey. So it's kind of fucked up. But no, here's what we should do. Honestly, if you and I work together, we should do. You know, we would do a crossover. We would do Jawbreakers Cyberfrog or Jawbreakers Salamandroid, or something like that, just for fun. I mean, you know, ultimately, you know, even though you know your characters mean a lot to you and you've got your storyline and they mean everything to me and I got mine. You know, ultimately, we just want to have fun. Every now and then, you know, you would get something like Avengers versus the X-Men, you know, in 1989 and or 1987, I think, or 88. And it would just be like, man, I just want to see these guys interact with each other. It didn't used to be the way it is now. When the Avengers met the X-Men, it was special. It was a big deal. You know, doing something like that, doing some kind of team up project just to entertain fans.
Didn't you say that X-Men Fantastic Four was like your first comic?
I was going to bring that up, but
I read that. I thought it sucked. I think I read like one issue. I was like, what? It was like Keith Pollard or something.
the hell no, you read the wrong one. Fantastic Four versus the X-Men, Chris Claremont, John Bogdanove, and Terry Austin. And I promise you, if you read it, you wouldn't think it sucked because you have good taste.
Yeah, I might be thinking about some other mini. I remember just some really boring art, and it was, yeah, I wasn't into it. But I'm a big fan of John Bogdanove. Geez, where is he at?
He's on. Look, I talked to him. I asked him to do a commission for me. I never do that. You know, it's like, but John Bogdanove is on Facebook, and I just said, "Sir, I don't, you know, I don't have respect for like too many of these people. I really don't. But I like that guy really. Here's the thing about John Bogdanove. He knew how to draw warmth and compassion between people in a way that I can't really describe. Like he knew how to draw people hugging. Like Reed and Sue would go through a living hell together, and then they'd realize at the end of the story that they loved and valued each other, and they'd embrace. And there was so much like life and intensity and warmth to his work where you go, whoa, these people really love each other. I can feel the movement and the squeeze and the just the angst of this. He's such a good artist, like who just works in just a few lines. Fantastic Four versus the X-Men, Zach. Okay. Little Franklin Richards is having nightmares that his father has murdered the X-Men and all of his family, the Fantastic Four, in hell. Like he's just like, what did you do, Daddy? And he's just like, I must go up and open this book now. And like the Thing is on the ground with like his chest plates busted off and everything, and he's bleeding green. She-Hulk is dead. Wolverine is like hanging up on a spike. And you know, poor little Franklin is grabbing his father around the waist and trying to pull him away from. He's like, don't open that book, Daddy, don't open it. And he's pulling, and you see Reed still walking, but he's, you know, he's stretching his little body out. Reed gets up and opens the book, and inside the book is like Doctor Doom's mask, and he puts it on, and he's like, my final victory. And you're like, and poor little Franklin is just flipping out. So these are his psychic dreams. And the next day, Sue and Johnny and the Thing find Reed's journal, his diary from when he was experimenting before he went into space. And the diary is basically Reed's handwritten account of how he deliberately shaped the rocket ship to harness the cosmic rays to affect his friends. And he said, it might kill us, it might give us superpowers, but it's the Cold War, and you know, we need superheroes. So I'm going to risk my family and friends. And I mean, for someone like Johnny Storm, he's just like, well, it kind of sucks that he lied to us, but my life's good. Now think about how Ben Grimm feels. And then think about like Sue Storm being like, my husband is a fucking liar who risked my life. and Reed has no explanation for it. He can't remember. The whole time Franklin's having nightmares of Reed going psychopathic and killing everyone. That's just the first issue. So goddamn good. It'll give you goosebumps, Zach. I mean, comic books used to be good. Comic books used to be compelling, and like the first issue, you would just you're like, give me the second one. I gotta know, did Reed mean to create the Fantastic Four? Like, that seems likely but awful. And god damn it, where did comics go?
Yeah. So what is he doing now?
Who? John?
Yeah, John Bogdanove.
Well, he aged out. It's funny. It's like and again, where's Louise Simonson? For that matter. It's like there are some people who just kind of go, all right, I'm kind of done, and I'll come back for some kind of classic return of whatever issue. But John's not really doing comics anymore. And the other thing that happens is, I think, and I don't want this to happen to me, I think about this a lot. As some artists get older, they go, I can do less. Like, I'm adopting this more simplistic style. It's like, look, I can draw it with my foot and a paintbrush. And, it's still, you've got the energy there, but I don't want to look at it as much as I used to.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to him. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing. So I don't want that to be us. I'm excited, Zach, about the idea of 2019 being our second efforts. And I can already tell everyone in the chat, there's almost 1,800 people watching right now. God King. Oh my God, dude. People aren't going to know what to say when they see this. It looks better than any Marvel or DC book right now.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm working with this guy and he's great. And to be perfectly honest, I get worried. I go, I want to work with this guy forever. I go, he's going to get snapped up. And then I'm like, well, DC just shrunk by 20%. Marvel can't afford them. They just get Tumblr trash and don't even start about IDW and Dark Horse. They give you like $100 a page. It's like, I'll just keep on going and just as much stories as I can do. We got, we're already talking about the follow-up. We got the sci-fi book probably next year, maybe December. But yeah, so, and the thing about God King is it's good. So I took the lessons from book 1 and book 2 and Lost Souls and all the feedback. I don't understand these SJWs. They're insane. Someone gives their opinion and they try to destroy you. Every single opinion, every single thing a customer says to you, you put it into the universal translator. It comes out and it says, I want to keep giving you money and I want to increase it. It's like you just listen to them. They said, hey, your transitions are kind of weak. I go, okay, they're going to be better. They go, we like your story, but you can compress it too much. It's like, okay, I took the last 25 pages from a script and it's now 50 pages. So it's got like the big action. They go, we want you to explain more. We want to know where everyone, it's the mystery is cool, but it's a little too mysterious. Everything gets wrapped up. And like, this one is a gut punch. Like everyone gets it in the end. No one's unscathed. And I'm really, really excited about the reaction. So much so that I'm going to do, I'm bringing back, the Lost Souls that is getting fulfilled right now. It's going out overseas this week. We finally got the right package to send it overseas. Because if you put it in a cardboard box, now it's like $25 per thing. So it's got to be like a bubble mailer. But so I'm going to bring it back because you kind of need to know these, these earlier stories. And I've got new followers and people who missed out from the campaign. So we're going to do a really short one, like maybe like a 2-week campaign and do a quick turnaround on that. Just keep the presses moving. And then God King will be out in the summertime. And it's funny you mentioned Franklin Richards because that's the bad guy, Franklin Richards.
Oh, is he the God King?
God King is Franklin Richards combined with the Little Prince from Planet B612.
What about the kid from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the Indian prince, that kind of guy?
No, it actually just came from thinking about, there's all these stories about the little kid who has all this terrible things happen to him and he's just kind of fine. And this one is the idea, it's the little prince and he's on his little tiny planet. He doesn't know he's a kid. He thinks he's a giant. So when he gets rescued, he's driven insane with rage. He's like, what? I'm a kid? I'm half as tall? I thought I was a god. So his whole thing is to become a god again. And that's why he calls himself God King. He uses technology and other means, and that's the big culmination of this storyline.
Penny Wisdom 1983, thanks for $20, says Zack's insight, erudition, and honesty is what brought me into Comicsgate. The Comicsgate Brotherhood saved this hobby and taught me to love an art form that has become completely lost to me. Gratitude forever, no lie.
Oh, yeah.
That's
great. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, this is this is the future. This is, I think, what Comicsgate is meant to be. By the way, everyone in the chat right now is just like, oh yeah. No more weird Michael Jackson streams. Just Ethan and Zack talking. Yeah, I wish Zack would do his own live streams, but here's the thing about being who we are. We attract weirdos. At least I do.
Yeah.
Zack, are you there?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, I do, and I don't want to attract any more. Yeah, we attract weirdos. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to do live streams, but I used to like when you would sit there and go, no, not you guys. We love you guys in the chat. But I used to like when you would sit there and hold your phone and just be like, okay, we're gonna review this book, and then it's gonna become a hangout.
Well, actually, one of the biggest factors is just it's an internet thing. The last two places I lived you're like on the edge of town and the internet's not as good. So live streams just die.
Oh, it's too bad. I think about this because I just got my new house and it's out in the woods a little bit. And I have to admit, I'm very nervous. My entire life is about being online. It's like my YouTube channel and then Cyberfrog. It's like, well, I kind of need good internet.
Yeah, so I changed that. And also I'm trying to do, I think you're doing probably a better idea, concentrating on one book at a time, but I'm doing basically 3 books at a time. So I really got to concentrate. Like right now, I'm supposed to be working on my business stuff because 15th, you got to have all your LLC stuff turned in. So that's what I'm working on.
Oh my God, dude. We paid taxes from last year. It was brutal. I told you what it was, man. It was.
Yeah, I know the title. I mean, it's impressive. You know what I mean? It's like
it's horrendous.
I don't want to give away your private information, but it's impressive that anyone could pay that if it was all of the money they made. But it's a percentage, which means you made X, 60-70% more than that. So yeah, that's just I'm doing this stuff right now, and I'm getting to go to the business accountant, and it's pretty shocking when you see everything there. You go, because do you ever watch The Profit or Shark Tank?
I don't watch either of those. I know you do.
I love it. I love them. So one of the things, they always have these businesses and they sound pretty good. And they say, they go, what'd you bring in last year? And they go, 600,000. And all the sharks are impressed. They go, oh, 600,000. I go, well, I'm brought in more than that in all the different ventures. And you probably, doubled that or will this year. And I go, wait, we're like the impressive businesses that they have on Shark Tank or, The Profit. So I was like, oh, geez, this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, if that's the case, yeah, no wonder why these people are, hate us. I always think about that. I'm just like, why? What is with this just unstoppable hate? Like every time and I know you're telling me to get off Twitter, but Zack is always telling me, chat. He's like, get off Twitter, man. You're gonna feel much better. He's like, ever since I quit Twitter, I've been feeling much more. What would you say? I mean, just feel healthier?
Yeah, it's just, you're just out of, I mean, one time when I was in the Marines, we went to, where was it? East Timor. It was right after they had a civil war. It was actually, technically the civil war was still ongoing, so we got combat pay. but things had died down. So we were guarding a tuberculosis clinic, and yeah, that might be the origin for my cough. But they were actually really nice people. But you don't want to be at a tuberculosis clinic all the time. And when you get back to the ship and you get to see air, you're like, oh, okay, good. But you don't, it's just unhealthy, and it's the same stuff everyone else says. It's an unhealthy atmosphere where people. It's a sanctimony incubator. When you get out, you talk to normal people, and I just get a lot more done. It's not a coincidence that the month I got off Twitter was the month that I, got Jawbreakers to the printers, and it's not a coincidence right now. Iron Sights 2, that's already started. I'm already lettering pages from that.
Yeah.
God King is, like 75% done. And then I'm already talking to the people I hired for the follow-up, which is probably going to be next year or maybe later this year, probably next year.
Do you want to do a big Comicsgate crossover series that you only have to write a few pages of?
No, not really.
Did you see? No, you don't want to do that.
No.
Would you do it?
I'd probably just say you guys can use my characters, just run it past me.
What if I want to use your characters?
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about this back in the day. When Image started, you'd have Savage Dragon and Grifter or Zealot would pop up. And as far as I know, they didn't do any contracts or splitting profit. It was just like, hey, let me use yours, I'll use mine, and just whatever we make.
Yeah, it was weirder during the Image days because I think they stopped asking permission. People like Rob Liefeld would do something like Bad Rock and Company, and it would just be Bad Rock and then like Pitt and Savage Dragon and like Grifter and like all of the biggest characters from every studio would show up there, drawn by Todd Knock. And I always was just like, first of all, this sucks. Like none of these characters are drawn or written correctly. And second of all, like I'm positive you're not asking permission. I really think there's this sense at Image that you can just do whatever you want and borrow these characters, and there's just this kind of brotherly friendliness. But it does kind of dilute, the thing. If there was going to be a Cyberfrog Jawbreakers crossover, like it would have to be Jawbreakers would have to enter this world, and I would have to make them exactly like your characters, just in this world that's been taken over by bugs. And I would be careful to make sure they were drawn and written correctly. You'd have to be involved. That's the thing. That's why it shouldn't be done. I'd have to be on the phone with you like, dude, what would Hell Priest do here?
Yeah, and it might not even work because one of the things is like the storyline's kind of mixed with very specifically my sense of humor. I mean, I've hired other people to write them, and that's going to come out. And that's, I don't know. I'm fine with other people using it, but I'm not really into the crossover, like 4 different universes. I always find that so tiresome. How are the Ninja Turtles in the Batman universe? Let's spend like half the miniseries on that. No, just screw it. There's a third universe, and they were always together. Like, I don't know. I don't want people going through portals and all that stupid stuff. But then you get into the thing of, it's like, wait, were they always in the same universe? So I don't know. I mean, the thing is, if people want to use my characters, I think I'm fine with that. And it would just be like a open license, just be like I always think about it. Cause I'm starting to get hit up by, people with kind of like new Indiegogos, and it's a little awkward because I don't really talk about Indiegogos, and then, people get their feelings hurt if you don't want to talk about them. But I tell all these people, I go, hey, it's a rough game. Like, it's really, really rough. And there's a whole bunch of factors that come into success, and you only have, control over a couple of those. And I kind of want to tell these guys, instead of doing this, whatever story you're doing, why don't you just ask me for Devil Dog and do a Devil Dog story, and then, see what happens with that.
I would do it. It'd be fun. All right, let me read some super chats, Zack. Mike Jenkins says a cool red stripe, a fat spliff, and an EVS stream. That's all you need. Swinging Cod says stop trying to eat pie while driving EVS. Zack, I had an accident today. I got to tell you about that. I'll tell you about that in private.
I saw it, and then it was. It sounds like you were pumping gas and they hit your car or something.
I was in the car when it happened. It's Jersey. They pump your gas.
Wait a minute, it's Jersey, and they're pumping your gas, and they hit what?
Yeah. I'm parked getting gas pumped into my car. Okay, and I'm in the front. I'm in the front gas pump, and somebody else is coming up behind me. All right. So it wasn't so bad, but boy, I'll tell you, it pissed me off, dude.
Well, what happened to the guy pumping the gas?
He wasn't there. He put the pump in the car and then walked over to handle other people. See what I mean?
I always hated that. Whenever I would drive through Jersey, I would pay for those Manhattan prices. Just so that always drove me insane.
Dude, they don't let you. The weird thing about Jersey gas pumping is that they literally don't let you do it. And
well, that's the deal. And then you got to sit there and wait. And then, not to be classist, but some of those guys seems like super dirtbags. Like I don't want people touching my car. Yeah. Like, some of them are. You almost wonder if one of the guys. It's like 2 a.m. You're driving on the New Jersey Turnpike. He's like, "How do I know you didn't kill the actual guy? You're just some creepo, putting whatever." Some of those guys are really sketchy.
Yeah, I really liked pumping my own gas. I liked getting out of the car and doing it. But again, I don't understand what the purpose of this is, because you can't tip them. Like, nobody tips gas station attendants.
Oh, I tipped them whenever I did it. I thought that was the whole shtick.
No, they don't do that. If you do that in Jersey, people give you dirty looks, because they're like, we got a scam going here. Well, you don't tip the gas station guys, because otherwise they expect it. And then gas gets more expensive. But what it ends up being is, you see it in movies. People like, you're gonna be a kid who's pumping gas one day. That only exists in New Jersey. But my son did it. My son pumped gas as a job all through high school, and that was a job that kids have. So it does open up kind of job opportunities for young people. But other than that, I really don't know why Jersey doesn't let people pump their own gas. It is very strange. And if you're coming through Jersey and stop to get gas, do not try to pump it. They will yell at you.
I remember being pissed. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm out of Jersey. Oh, here's Delaware." But I actually got off on the last Jersey exit. I'm like, "Oh, jeez, I got to sit there." It's awful. So someone ran into your parked car that was getting.
Yeah.
Were you worried about a big explosion?
I pissed off, dude. So mad. First of all, yeah, I was worried about my neck, and I wasn't expecting it, because I was looking at my phone. And yeah, I don't know. Look, it made a loud noise. It fucked up my car. I got to get a rental tomorrow, and get a dent pulled. That's not so bad. It's not so bad. I was angry. But yeah, I've only been in 2 accidents in my entire life, too. And neither one was my fault, but both of them filled me with adrenaline. Have you been in accidents?
Oh yeah, lots of accidents. My fault, another person's fault.
Yeah.
It's been a while though.
Yeah, okay. I got one. Listen, I was driving home from New Jersey in February, from New Jersey all the way to North Carolina. This was back when I was dating Andrea, 2015, winter 2015. And it started to snow when I was in the mountains of Virginia. Okay. And it's just hills and mountains. And like the snow came pouring down, and before you knew it, it was 16 inches, 2 feet of snow on the ground. And, it normally takes 9 hours to get home. It took me 18 hours to get home in this snow. And then right when I was about 2 miles from my house, I was just snow blind, and my car skidded out on the highway and slammed into the guardrails. And I remember, like, when it happened, when I first felt my car tires lose contact with the road, I said, "Oh," boom, and it's like, that's what came out of my mouth. Like, "Oh, I might be about to die." Boom, smashed into the side of the car, a guardrail, bounced off of it 3 times, did a circle, and then looked behind me, and you see the lights of a Mack truck coming, and you're like, shit, missed me. So, those were my 2 accidents, and it was pretty awful. In any case, no big deal. Who Flung Poo says, just want to drop you a deuce. John Smith says, good for you, crush it. Conservative Vanguard says, shut your big, beautiful mouth, ribbit. Marshall Law says, artist Miss Jazz the Funk. Latino Christian being mobbed on Twitter by SJWs in animation, trying to get her unemployed for her private faith. Please help. People do this to me all the time. Like people come to me like, hey man, somebody's being swarmed by SJWs. And my heart goes out, especially if it's their first time. It sucks. Marshall Law says Doug TenNapel was banned for defending Miss Jazz the Funk. Does anybody know about this? I don't even know who Miss Jazz the Funk is. And Doug TenNapel was banned off Twitter. That's probably for the best. I'm waiting for it, Zach. When I get banned from Twitter, finally, I'm going to be like, all right. But I can't quit. You know?
Of course you can.
If I quit, they're going to be like, look, we drove Ethan off Twitter. Yay.
Okay.
And that's immature that I care about that, huh?
I'd say so, yeah.
I shouldn't care. I should just quit.
Yeah, just go make that, and then just do 2 books. Get a what do you call it? Get a house, and then get a summer cottage somewhere as well.
Mm.
But are you going to do the little pie chart where you ensure your backers that you're not going to make any profit, like every SJW does when they do a crowdfunding campaign?
Why do they do that?
People like when they like giving money. That's literally customers. They want you to have a nice house. They want you to go on a vacation. That makes them happy.
I told that to one of our young Comicscape voices here, who just said, I'm going to do a comic book and I don't expect to make very much money off of it, just enough to print the book. And I said, never say that again.
Yeah.
Never say that again. You come out and you tell these people, I want you to make me rich. Because people want to participate in success. They don't want to participate in failure. And I really think that that's a big part of why these SJW Kickstarters don't work out. You know, you've got losers who are just out there going, profit is bad. And we just need enough money to publish this book. Well, I don't understand why you've got 1,800 people. They literally have 8 people working on a single comic book, and they're trying to raise $5,000.
That's another thing they always do. Do you remember? This is an 80s thing. It was a lot of usually the movies that weren't that good. They would show, and then at the bottom, they would have all these boxes of all these kind of like B and C and D-list stars, you know, and it'd just be like some guy that was in like Mannix for, 2 episodes,
Yeah.
I remember this one from Meteor Man. They had Meteor Man, and then they had 10 boxes of like every single co-star. And they're like, what is that? SJWs, they always have like 10 people on the payroll. What the hell?
I don't understand.
And the other thing is not just success. It's more fun for me to read a book that 10,000 people are reading than it is to read someone that 500 people are reading. It feels like this isn't good. Why did it only sell 500? Also, how hard is it to find someone to talk to about if you liked it? You like something, you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I feel the same way. I do. I really, really, really think it's just unattractive to sit there and talk about how you just hope to barely make enough money to get by. And these SJWs, that's what they like saying that. Like that makes them feel good. And it's really unsettling for other people, because other people look at that and go, then why are you doing this? If you're not doing your stupid book for money, why are you doing it? It makes me suspicious about you. If you have other motivations besides profit, what are they? Because they're weird.
Well, it's just like, why would you put a limit on your success? And then I always see them say these weird things. They're like, they're charging more than a comic book costs. I'm like, what the hell? Of course we are. What kind of alternate universe talk is that?
Yeah, it's odd.
It's like stuff you would see. I was watching, what's the Star Trek movie where they go to San Francisco in the 80s?
Oh, which one is that? Is that 5?
4 or 5, and Kirk is on a date with this woman, and then the waiter comes over with the bill, and she goes, "Oh, let me guess. In the future, nobody pays for everything." He's like, "Oh yeah." Like he never thought to have a currency. So it's like, oh gosh, I want to jump on board this book with 12 people in the credits, and they always put like their like resume. This letter, his letter. I don't want to hurt your feelings, letters, but nobody cares. Like,
My favorite thing ever, and I'm sorry, I say what I mean here about this, and Jamal Igle, okay, sitting there talking about how manga is going to influence. I've been taking in a lot of manga, and I'm going to let that influence my crummy book with Kwanzaa White. I'm taking in some manga influence. Jamal, nobody cares.
well, here's the thing, and I mean, obviously, I think both of us have had issues with him. The art looks better. The art looks much better than Black. Their original miniseries from 3 years ago, at least in my opinion. And they're tracking to make half as much.
Why is that?
Because they branded themselves a not fun brand. They both got, a lot of internet clout. They're going to get retweets, but Kwanzaa is the guy who calls everything racist. And Jamal Igle is kind of like his buddy who, he'll talk about regular stuff, but it's always going to come back to race. I'm going to shock everyone. How many got people? Racism is not fun. You don't want racism or anti-racism in your brand. Comics is a fun pastime. If I look at you and say, oh, that's the guy who talks about racism all the time, you destroyed your brand. I mean, if you want to be a commentator on news shows, yeah, that's fine. But if you're trying to sell superhero comics, I should not think about racism and you talking about racism. With Kwanzaa, it's 95% of the things he talks about. With Jamal, I think it's maybe 20 or 30, but it's still there. You just think about it all. You've branded yourself as the Twitter guy who talks about racism all the time.
Yeah, it's what do you get from talking about racism? I guess there's no money in it, is there? I mean, is there? They talk about like race hustlers, like I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think money comes from being fun, and being kind of transgressive and cool and a good time. Again, SJWs are just this constant sense of like the weight of shame and guilt, and trying to prove that you're okay and you're a good person. There's no prosperity in that. It is very, very odd. But yeah, I mean, that's another book. I don't. If Cyberfrog 2 doesn't make as much, if not more, than Cyberfrog Blood Honey, I'm going to be really confused.
Well, this is the big thing for all of us to get that second book for you, me, Malin, Doug, Mitch Breitweiser, because I think he wants to do another Red Rooster. I think John's doing a second Graveyard Shift. That's the big mystery. And that one I'm worried, so I'm working harder because I want to match or exceed, because that's going to be the trajectory. I actually think my prediction is I think the next Jawbreakers is going to do a little slightly worse. But I think the next Iron Sights is going to do a lot better. That's my prediction.
Here's my prediction. Your second Jawbreakers would do much, much, much better if you would just live stream again. You could do it here. But, I tell you this like a brother, these people miss you. And I don't know if you're looking at the chat. I don't know if you're looking at what people are saying. But these people really, really miss you, and they're happy to see you. So
I can definitely do some more, but I'm pretty busy. I'm the 3 books and concentrating, and I'm sure or are learning this. There's a whole bunch of stuff in publishing your own stuff that has nothing to do with on the page. I am doing so many spreadsheets and tax forms and tax codes. And, even just answering emails, business related emails, that's a huge part of every single day.
Yeah. Well, when you actually have a campaign, you got to put that stuff second, and you got to.
Yeah. When we campaign, I'll do some more promotion, but I don't know. I've got different thoughts with you. I think there's, what do you call it? Because I'm really, really trying to just do writing and comics. And I think if I'm talking too much, then I'm kind of overplaying it. I'd rather be, kind of, pop up. I mean, I still do 2 videos every single day, sometimes 3 with my 2 channels. So I kind of feel like there's probably enough of, hearing me talk out there.
No, well, nobody agrees with you. Everybody agrees with me in the chat. And they're all saying, listen to EVS. Yes, yes, yes. Well, there's something about the personal. I can do videos too, but my videos are just kind of like news clips. They're sound bites. But I mean, actually taking a minute and being real and then talking to the chat and talking about stuff and having a little conversation, answering questions. Yeah, if you do that, if you run your campaign, and when you do run your campaign, you need to do that at least every other day. For a month, and I think you're going to see incredible success. And I don't see why. I would be amazed if Jawbreakers #2 didn't exceed Jawbreakers #1, provided you stay in contact with your customers, which you're usually very good about. But you know.
Yeah, and then the other thing is I'm trying to with the make it. I'm also not really concerned about the money as with the amount of readers. That's all that I care about. Because the money is kind of one of those things where, it's the book plus it's the postage. So I kind of feel like that doesn't count. I'm really I did this with Iron Sights. I said, this is just about number of readers. Like I can kind of, Iron Sights has got a limited audience because it's crime comics. But what I do 10,600 of Jawbreakers, Lost Souls. I want to do at least 8,000, retain 8,000 from the first one and then get some new people. Obviously I'll take as many as I can. If I could get 15,000 customers, that would be insane.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to definitely help. I'm going to do everything I
can. Yeah, great.
Phil McCracken says, none. Neal Adams got a $2 donation. Integer Spin says, Billy Tucci says, you didn't call me. I don't know what that means. Bill, I spoke to Billy the other day. Penny Wisdom 1983 says, Ethan and Zack, do you think there are any pros with the balls to stand up to the SJW horde? Who? I think we can get Steranko on our side. Hail.
I mean, he's like I said, I'm very respectful of my elders. He's great, but I don't actually don't want it. I don't want people targeted. There's this a YouTube channel that I like a lot. I don't talk about them because I know what's going to happen. The same psychos are going to come over there and hit them up. Hey, denounce. I don't want that pressure on them. I just want Steranko to be out there, dude, the confusing me because I think he's wearing a wig and everyone says it's not a wig. I swear it's not a wig. People, so it blows my mind. But I've heard he's the greatest guy. So I just want him to keep doing what he's doing. I don't want these people to be put in these weird, unwinnable situations.
He was already targeted. I mean, Steranko was targeted right after the election, right before I was, in fact.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I was working. I remember I was working, and then I looked at it, and all these just soy boys, they were just tearing them apart. And I think he just said something really generic, like, new president hopes for the future, something like that. Jeez, it was like nothing.
Yeah, he's a big Republican. By the way, people in the chat, I am getting to the super chats. I'm reading them here. I didn't miss any. I'm going to read them in order. Yes, Steranko and I have spoken about this, and he is, when you bring up politics, he flinches now after that. And I'm like, no. I'm with you. And he's like, oh, and like he takes your hand and he just squeezes it and just shakes it and won't let it go. Like that's who he is. I mean, he's just like, yeah, we're going to get him right. We're going to get him in 2020. Yeah, I think we are. I think we're going to do good. And he beams over that. He's so happy to meet a Republican in comics. And if fans actually meet Steranko and just say, hey, I'm with you. I'm a Republican, Trump supporter. You'll get a big, healthy, strong, happy handshake, which is a lot of fun from that guy. I don't know, man. He reminds me of like he'd be in Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons. He was like one of those kids, man, on the streets in the 1950s. He's just such a cool guy.
Oh yeah, he's a magician. He ran a Cinefantastique, which was this big, special effects magazine in the 80s and 90s. He basically made Nick Fury what he is. Yeah, he's real interesting. But I want all these people to be rendered safe. I
Yeah,
want them to be safe. I don't want them. I don't want a 75-year-old man disconcerted and in fear of his income and losing gigs. Just leave him alone.
yeah. I'm with you. I always discourage people. I discourage people to come out and be on our side because it's just look. Here's the thing. Like we're still trailblazing. Me and Zack and like Mike Miller and John Malin and Doug Tenaple, we're building Deadwood. Okay, and right now it's a mud pit. But we're building up Deadwood, and as soon as Deadwood is a little bit more build up, we'll invite some more people, some more gold prospectors to come live in our town and build it up.
Well, first of all, I just want to say I don't think John Malin gets enough credit as he should for starting everything because it was fine for me to start an Indiegogo, but getting John Malin, that was so huge and everyone was so excited about it. And then, you came out and you did better. And then he came out, he did better. But I just feel like there's this guy, I think he's from Brazil. I think you were talking about it. This guy made like $400,000 in a couple of days.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is, I don't want people to have, it's just like you always say about your kid. I don't want your life to be as hard as mine.
Mm-hmm.
I just want people to copy the things that we've done well, to not copy our mistakes, and to go out there and make a lot of money and make books people like.
Yeah, that guy had 2 million in Instagram followers. So he's got 2 million Instagram followers, and he decides to open up, an Indiegogo to sell his comic book. And I don't know where he's at. Last I looked, he was nearing 400,000.
I checked it today. He was at like 414,000, and he's got like 20 something days left.
Yeah, he's going to hit 1 million. I'm pretty sure, and that is exactly right. This is how to do it. I talked to other comic book artists. I talked to Dan Panosian because I was on. I was in his audience during his live stream, and I encouraged him in private. I was just like, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing this. Grow it. Monetize it. Build an audience because right now you guys might all feel like everything's okay and you've got a book at Dark Horse and you've got a book at Marvel. That's all going to dry up. And you're going to wonder where your audience went. And you're going to realize that the audience was never your fan. They were just kind of, into what you were doing, but they've moved on when the comic book industry moved on. You need to build your audience. You need to actually have it this way. Now, this guy, 2 million Instagram subscribers translates to a market who will buy his comic book. We don't need Marvel. We don't need DC anymore. We don't need these companies. We don't need to draw their shit. We can draw our own stuff. And that is, that's what this guy proved. That's what we prove every single day. So anyway, in answer to that, yeah, there are lots of pros who want to stand up to the SJW horde when it's time. When they're a little bit more defanged, I think they're going to come over here, whether they're comics gate or not, and just realize that our technique, our method is right. And there is no money in comics anymore. There's just no money.
It's pretty simple. It's like you gotta, one of the biggest things, and I think this is going to be hard for some of them, is you got to realize you're not a celebrity. All the weird behavior from pros and their acolytes comes from this weird. There was one celebrity in the history of comics, and he died last year. There will never be another celebrity. Just be a person. Connect with them, a good customer service, answer the emails, and that's what people like. They like characters. They want some, characters that mean something, and they want a creator who doesn't act like they're better than them. It's pretty simple, and good art. Obviously, you got to have good art. You got to have good art, good story, all that other stuff.
Sell me your comic and don't call me a Nazi. That's all I want. I love that. That's exactly right. Don't call me a Nazi. Let me buy your product. Let me enjoy it, and let me not hate you while I'm doing it. It's not much to ask, And
then you're gonna. The thing is, that if they've got this weird animosity towards the customers, it continually blows my mind. People will just send me stuff. Hey, do this. You'll make more money. What? What? Why are you doing this? Well, because we like when people make money. Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, I'll do that. That's it.
I don't know why they don't want to listen. And then, again, a good way to really irritate these people is they're like, you're going to take this and make a video out of it and monetize it, and it's like, yes, I am. I'm going to monetize your terrible behavior. I'm going to make a very entertaining video. They get so upset about the idea of people monetizing things. God, it's weird. Boag says anime localizations died. Japan is still safe. Trioxin says 90s Cyberfrog Omnibus still a possibility. Yet no, it is happening. There's a publisher for it. They are going to bleach out the pages. They have technology to take the pages, get them recolored. So maybe I'll put Kyle Ritter back to work like real hard. And then just present the whole thing like all at once. Like the black and white issues are going to be colored. Everything will be offered in color, I think. And now that is definitely going to happen. And it's going to happen this year. Now, the question is, do I crowdfund for it or do I just put it out through Amazon? And I don't really know yet. Potato Radio says, Ethan, sorry about the wreck. And I couldn't send the CB with the mic. Zack, ever see First Sergeant Terrence Pop? If you ever did an annual like GI Comics, he has some stories that would make some cool shorts for it.
No, I haven't heard of him.
Liam Gray says, if you open Cyberfrog again, you can't open a new Indiegogo until it's fulfilled, right? Won't impede Rainbow Brute? Nope, I'm cool with Indiegogo. Don't worry about it. Jack Straw says, are you doing an uncolored version of Cyberfrog? Yeah, I'm going to do it as a separate campaign. Absolutely. I was thinking about adding it to this, and I went, it's too confusing. Mike S. Miller put 3 books together on one campaign, and it was a big mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got to keep it simple and save stuff. Do another campaign. Just get the turnaround times shorter and shorter, on each campaign, and make it. And whenever they have 8 different reward tiers, and then they add more ones in, oh my God.
It's too confusing. Like
none of that stuff.
Remember our first initial conversation about this? You were like, "Look, I learned a lot. I've done a crowdfunding campaign before, and I'm just going to do like $25, $50. Like you can get the book, in a poster or something like that, and that's it."
So it's looking like in the future it's going to be this because the thing that always kills me is that the postage that the people have to pay. So I think the standard for all of my books is going to be a basic tier, the book, and a fold-up poster, shrink wrap to it, and then a bigger tier with a T-shirt. There's going to be one poster, one book, one T-shirt. Keep it real simple. Yeah, $25, $50.
You didn't listen to me about the T-shirt. You really should be just drop shipping T-shirts. I don't.
What do you mean drop shipping? I don't know what that is.
All right, look. Just tell me if you want. Like, all you need to do is just go work with Crypto Fashion. Just say, look.
Oh no, I got a good. The people who do my fulfillment, they got me awesome prices on the T-shirts. The biggest thing with the T-shirts is I didn't realize how many big boys were out there.
Yeah,
I thought 2XL was going to cover it. That's not even close.
No.
So the next one, it's going to be one T-shirt, and then it's going to be men's and women's cut, and then sizes up to.
Zack, it's so complicated. It's so complicated. Don't do it. My advice.
Don't do what?
Don't do the T-shirts. Sell the T-shirts via Crypto Fashion.
No, the T-shirts were good for me. I got a good price point. They handled it. My problem was just the sizes.
You won't listen to me. I don't know why. Let me try again. And don't interrupt me. Just listen to me for a second, okay? Now, when you're doing these, when you're doing fulfillment here, you've only got 2 things. You got a book and a poster, and that's all you need to worry about because they're all the same. So it's so easy. Now, if you're working with Crypto Fashion, you say to them, okay, now I'm offering a T-shirt for Jawbreakers. Let's say you got a Jawbreakers God King T-shirt to go with your campaign. Now you just have them, you put the ad for the T-shirt in your videos or on your Indiegogo campaign, wherever people are going to see it. Now Crypto Fashion handles all of it. People go to them, they say, I'm a girl, I'm a size 5XL, and I want this shirt. They handle it, and then they send you a check for $8. for every shirt. You don't have to do anything, Zach. There's no worry for you. There's no shipping. There's no confusion. There's no size differentials to work out. You just accept your check for $8 for a t-shirt sold. Okay, now I'm done talking. All right. Yeah, 5XL woman. I know. You know who I'm thinking.
Yeah, I got distracted by that. And is it really still going to be a woman's cut if it's 5XL?
Yeah. They have, first of all,
no, you see what I'm saying? That's not an hourglass anymore. The woman's cut makes it an hourglass.
Right.
There is no such thing as a 5XL hourglass. That's a man's shirt.
Yeah. But okay, but you understand what I'm saying. It's less work for you. Every month they will send you a check. And by the way, crypto fashion's good. If you sell over $5,000 worth of shirts, they send you a 25% bonus on top of that. So somebody like you, we're talking money here in front of everybody, but somebody like you, honestly, it's no work. It's no fuss. All you have to do is talk about the shirts and send people to crypto fashion to buy them. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to package them with your comic books, which is a big problem. And you just accept the money. That's all I'm saying. All right. Thank you. Penny Wisdom says, I'm a supporter of 7 Comicsgate Indiegogo campaigns, and I can't wait to add the originals, Blood Honey, Jawbreakers, Graveyard Shift to the list. Thank you, Penny Wisdom. MT says, hi, I was Googling your art, and I am in awe. Wow. Thank you. Well-read user says, glad to see you're okay. My family was T-boned 3 years ago and never fully recovered. Car accidents are very serious. Hashtag Red User 1. Thank you, Red User 1. I'm okay. Publius Publicola says Knights of the Old Realm didn't exist at one point, but SJWs can't create. Mike Brady, thanks for $10. KK is still employed until the Disney Fox deal goes through. Turmoil is bad for business, especially in China. Once Mexico gives the okay, it's done. So is KK. Might be as early as 3/2019. That's like next week. Swinging Cod says, I thought Dynamite had a future when they published The Boys and Project Superpowers. They went down the least IP rabbit hole. Yeah, but just give it a moment. Mike Murphy says, no advertising, no BS. Just writing to say Selena and I are happy you're okay, Ethan. Have a great night. Also, hey, Zach. Yeah, everyone's happy to see Zach in here. Yeah, everyone is. It's crazy. AIM says, so happy to hear I have a chance to get my hands on the new Cyberfrog. I was so salty I picked up the original 90s run on eBay. It wasn't cheap either, LOL. Rezakai says, EVS tells Zach to do trading cards for Jawbreaker's God King. Zach, are you still in here?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to do trading cards?
I really like John Malin. He did trading cards for Graveyard Shift, but I still have not perfected getting people a book. I got to perfect that. Ironsight's had some issues with the pages, so we got a different printer. This one had some issues with the page file, so I'm gonna get a different page file prep. So I got to get real good at one thing before I try other things.
Okay. Or just let other people do it on your behalf. Like you don't have to do everything, you know?
Yeah. So I need to have at least one more, maybe 2 Jawbreakers from now. We'll try that.
Love it. All right. Septinov 7 of 9 says, Zach, do you want to create comics for decades or for just a while longer? 4 decades or just a while longer?
Just a little while longer.
All right. Do you see yourself doing comics in 10 years?
Hell no.
Snowtep says, damn it, Zach. I knew there was artifacting in Jawbreakers, but I doubted myself. So I redid my entire review of the book. Now I'm taking it down and getting the old review. Daniel Day says, if you have a good idea for a graphic novel, how do you get an artist? If you guys were looking, what would you be looking for? Well, it depends on the project, but man, I'm telling you, go to I would say go to Instagram and get in touch with somebody. But really, you need to have money. Remember, these guys, you're basically hiring an artist. You can't talk them into it with exposure or anything like that. Say, how much? I got $2,000 to get you to draw a 20-page book or more than that, and that's how to do it. Ivan says, I can't tell you how wonderful it is to hear you and Zach chat about comics. I could listen for hours. Yeah, here's the thing. Zach has been putting up Zach's channel. For those of you who don't know, is called Comics Matters with your boy Zach and Luna. And lately, I have to tell you, you know, Zack's one of my best friends, but I am honest with him about stuff, and I just kind of said, I don't like your stuff lately. You don't sound impassioned anymore. You're just reviewing comics. And I will say the past couple of weeks, man, you've turned it up to 11. Your videos are right back to where they were in your prime. I can tell, you know, you care. You're getting angry again at some real stuff that people should be angry about. And your videos for the past 2 weeks, everybody needs to kind of just run them on a play all and enjoy. Really, really good stuff. Got me excited about making videos about comics again, frankly.
Yeah, they got better. I got into a rut, and I was just trying to review 2 comics a day. And the comics right now are so bad, but a lot of them are not even bad in a good way, if that makes sense. And those things were just draining the freaking life out of me.
Yeah, it's not so much when you talk about individual comics. You talk about the state of things.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the better type of video.
Yeah. Brian Urso said, I have severe medical issues, but Zack and Ethan have inspired me to fight daily through the pain. And it took 3 years, but my prog rock band Gideon's Mob's new album is coming out in April. God bless you too. Nemesis Blade says, do a D&D campaign themed as a frog and a jawbreaker. Crossover and use the story that you make from the game. That's an interesting idea. Brian Urso said, don't forget Ethan and Zack. My band's album is coming out mid-April on iTunes and Amazon as well as CDs. Not mandatory, but you better buy one. The first Comicsgate album, LOL. That's Gideon's Mob. Bogus Fortune says, look at Monster Hunter 45, best-selling author, for the way to use Twitter without soiling yourself. He posts links to his website posts and Facebook page. That's it. Morgan Begg says, Billy Tucci probably said Neal Adams didn't call him. Yeah, he did say that. Somebody corrected that. And I like Billy speaking out. Billy's, you know, and Billy's pissed about all this stuff too. Just so you guys know, Billy is pissed about some of the stuff that's going on. Lord 3 says, any way to pitch a story with no experience? To who? He says, did you watch Red Letter Media Captain Marvel review? No, I don't like those guys. I think those guys.
I love that stuff. They're such a huge influence on all of my humor and my videos. And I watched about half of it, and they're, God, I don't want them getting contacted to denounce us, but they pick up on a lot of the same kind of themes that we comment on.
Yeah, but they don't like us, and that's the problem. Like, these guys have the same issues that we have, and yet they believe in the same things, but they, instead of just being like bold about it and being fair, like, they take cheap shots at Comicsgate and the Fandom Menace. I don't like them for that.
I've never heard that. I've never heard that ever. Although I've always made a thing to, like, I've got 10 years of listening to him. But I've never been the type. They used to have a forum. I never went to the forum. I'm guessing they both have Twitters. I don't go to it. I think at some point, it's kind of, good fences make good neighbors, and just like, I just watch their videos and I don't hear anything else.
Yeah, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't listen to them at all. I don't listen to other people. I listen to you. It's like I listen to what we're talking about. I don't really.
If you listen to me, you listen to Red Letter Media. Half of my jokes are things I stole from them.
No, you stole stuff from H3H3.
No, he's like a 5% influence. They're like a 90% influence.
Really? All right.
Hell yeah.
Happy Accident in the chat says EVS is too sensitive. No, I'm not. I just, I don't know. Some people are my type of people and other people aren't. It's not sensitivity. It's just impatience. Grievous Error says current comic pros egos surpass Mayweather's. There's a bit of that.
Yeah, definitely. Seriously. And the thing is, I remember Mayweather really bothering me because he was so cocky. But he's cocky and he brings it. Like, he's cocky and he wins. These people are cocky and they lose.
That's the thing. Yeah, like, you guys aren't making any money. All right, in the chat, they're
to them, victory is getting on the shelf. There's no other victory than getting on the shelf. Sales, that's not something they were trying. They get a book on their shelf, that means someone else didn't. Why do you think they push so hard against me getting a book on the shelf? And I think if you try to do the diamond system, there will be a major, major pushback on that.
Yeah, well, they got something coming. Lord 3 says Ethan's lying. He watched the acetone video. That's when they said I'm a giant man baby, and they dumped like 400 classic Star Wars figures in acid. I did watch
I
that.
watched that video and I don't even remember them. I think I don't remember that.
Well, it's not like
that was a pretty good one because it dissolves like part of them, but not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then didn't they push it into a block or something?
Yeah. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, but I don't know.
That's to my taste. That's my humor. But they were doing it to make fun of me. And then like they started saying things like the individuals from them were on Twitter taking shots at me personally. Otherwise, I would have said, I'm just being paranoid. They're not picking on me. No, they were, And I'm like, I don't even know who you guys are. So I don't really watch their stuff. So I watched that one thing and just went, yeah, I don't know. You guys say the same things. You believe what I believe. But then it's like Comicsgate is what? A big problem that I don't know. I haven't listened to enough of them. And Michael says EVS is butthurt. I'm not. All right. I don't know. All right, guys. That's fun. I don't feel butthurt about those guys. I just feel kind of like it's like there's so many people who you feel like should be kind of supportive in some way. Even if it's kind of under the table, you could be supportive by keeping your mouth closed. But when you join the mob and half of the things that you talk about and complain about are like stuff that we talk about all the time. It's our opinions. It's our kind of MO. It's just disappointing to me. And I'm not butthurt about it, but I just don't listen to them. Elliot says, good to hear you guys together. Logan Michael says, just heard about the wreck. Some pie will cure you. Michael Chav says, hey guys, thanks for the passion for integrity in comics. In your opinion, where in the Marvel timeline should I start? Interested in reading up to Secret Wars.
Oh, I've actually never been a fan of their 60s stuff. I'd say jump in late 70s with the Jim Shooter era. Mm-hmm. That's that. I felt like that's a better era than even the Stan Lee era.
Yeah, here's what I would read if I had to start somewhere. I would read the Chris Claremont X-Men stuff, starting with Dave Cockrum, and then I would read the John Byrne Fantastic Four run.
Oh yeah,
two big healthy runs. I mean, go back to think about John Byrne's Fantastic Four run. Just
though, especially like his first couple years. That's my biggest problem is I've never been a fan of Fantastic Four, but even not liking them, God, the first 2 years when he's inking himself, those are pretty much perfect.
Yeah. Okay, so there's that. They're saying Miller Daredevil in the chat.
Yeah, definitely.
No, I didn't find that until later. I read that whole run in a reprint, like a trade paperback, in my 20s. So I didn't. But I mean, I read. I was right there for Byrne's Fantastic Four. That was me when I was 13, and definitely the X-Men stuff. But yeah, all that stuff. Why was the 80s? The 80s were so good. The 70s weren't that good.
No, they weren't. 70s got too weird and trippy, and honestly, I think there was a lot of drugs. There's just a lot of like, let's go in space type of stuff. But Jim Shooter, he was like this kid from like a coal mining town, like in Pennsylvania or something like that. So he kind of brought it back to let's say these characters, let's do something interesting with these. God, the characters were 20 years old. Had been around for like 20 years when he came in there. Jeez, and that was like 35 years ago now.
So this is the thing. So this is the way to look at it. You've got the 1950s, which is a politically repressive, like post-Wordum kind of naivete and just pablum. And that leads to spitting out Stan Lee in the 1960s, rebelling against that and creating a new type of superhero, which basically flattened out and got weird in the 70s.
Yeah.
But then the class of like 78, like John Byrne, Frank Miller, Alan Moore, like Walt Simonson, all of those guys came from that and then launched Marvel Comics of the 1980s, where everything was good, all the best stuff. And then that blew up to the death of Superman, which killed everything. The 90s became, I love the 90s, but let's be honest, what is classic about the 90s? Can you help me out here?
Well, it's mainly early 90s. It's like
Asylum.
1989 to 1991, and then they kind of milk that for another 4 or 5 years, and then it all collapsed.
Yeah, like looking. Here's the thing. Like I can name hundreds of classic comics, like really indispensable comics, between 1978 and 1991. But then from 1992 on, I'm not sure that I can. There's some interesting moments, like pivotal moments in comics, but there isn't a Killing Joke. There isn't Dark Knight Returns. There's nothing like that. And then again, it doesn't really come back until 2001, 2002. Grant Morrison's X-Men, of course, Kevin Smith, Joe Quesada's Daredevil, which I thought was great. I don't know how you feel about it.
I really liked it when it came out. I don't think I've ever reread it since, but when it came out, I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah, it was good. It was as good as McFarlane. I mean, to me, it was just McFarlane Spider-Man. It was just so great. But yeah, the 1980s. I would like to live in the 1980s when it comes to comics. I'd read everything Marvel. I can't think of too many DC things. Man of Steel, George Perez, Titans, Wonder Woman. A lot of comics talk from me. I don't comics. Bogus Fortune says, please include a support the troops tier. I only support projects that have one. Yeah, I got to learn how to do that. I don't know how to do that. And by the way, people who do that get into bad trouble with the shipping. From what I hear.
So that actually shouldn't. So I had I forget what it was, like a live stream or something. Someone gave me a bunch of money but the thing is, I've always got a friend who's deployed. When one's coming back right now, but another one's right there. So all of my comics that survive get mailed, and you can use media mail. And if you get there, it's called like an APO-AE. You can do media mail, and it's cheap. It's like sending it in the States.
Okay.
You don't have to send it first class. I used to do that and spend $25, and it's like, no, you spend $6 to send a whole box.
Well, how about that? Yeah, Bogus Fortune saying, ask Mike S. Miller. He's learned a lot. Yeah, but he learned it the hard way. Like I would like to learn. I'd like to be prepared. Yeah, I'll hit you up about that, Zach. I wanna get, I'll get that right.
And again, I'd still keep it real, because then you got to track it. And I mean, I just literally send it to soldiers I know, that I served with. Because I don't know, charities you never really know if it's going to get there. So I just keep it simple.
Yeah. All right, James Dean Anderson says, thank you for paving the way, guys. My campaign for conflict was a success, and I know perfectly well that it was because of the community that you built. Ian Howe says, do you like your 2XL, 5XL t-shirt? I splurged for the tri-blend. Yes, it was very nice, Ian. I laughed. He got me a t-shirt that said 5XL, but it was a 2XL, which is Professor Geek says, taking notes and learning from this wisdom. Thanks. My Tales from the Stacks campaign doubled its funding goal, but now I know how to do even better. Yeah, Saul for X says, Zach, you're one of the most successful indie comic crowdfunders in history. You really don't like writing comics? This is crazy talk. Ha ha.
Oh, no, I absolutely love writing comics, but it's just too much craziness. I'm just like, I'm going to do probably about 3 years. And as far as my plan is just to nope out after that.
Yeah, it's not going to work like that, though.
Yeah, I'm very open to it. Well, the thing is, I might just create the characters and then hire people to do the stories, or just let people use them, and I'll just supervise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Zack has told me a few times he's going to disappear into the jungle after he's done writing comics. He's going to just make a whole lot of money doing his comics, do his last fulfillment, disappear into the jungle with $1 million. It's not going to happen. Zack, you're going to end up writing comics for a long time. You just don't realize it yet. And the time is going to go by really quick. But you are an idea person, and you're not going to let this industry break your heart. We're building a new one. These people aren't going to let you go. You know that. CMYK Comics says, tell Zach if I don't see Anti-Maelstrom in the next Jawbreakers book, I'm unsubscribing. Moo Quack Ribbit, P.S. The Comics Matters videos have been A+. A+, Zach. Are you
Oh, that's good to hear.
I'm always like,
no, he was referencing some. I was trying to figure out what he's talking about, but I know what he's talking about.
Daybreak Games, thanks for $5, $2.99 donation. Daybreak Games says, ask Zach about piss bottles in the infantry.
Oh yeah, just everyone pees in bottles and they leave them everywhere. And if you have OCD, it's pretty hard to deal with.
Oh wow, that's gonna be awful.
Piss bottles everywhere.
Hey, thanks for $2, Third Phase of the Moon. Appreciate it. Well, with that, Zach, man, I loved having you on, pal. Thank you for sticking around.
Oh yeah, it was fun. I mean, we were talking about comics, so that's what I like. A lot of live streams aren't talking about comics, so that's why I kind of just do the little Irish farewell.
I love the Irish farewell. It's hilarious, but it always makes me go, "Are you still there? Or are you leaving?" Because I can't see. But yeah, fantastic. I had a great time, and again, I miss comics. Can I just say that? I mean, talking about it with you, you realize how much we've lost, and trying to make sense of it is something that I think you and I both kind of struggle with our videos. Like, why is this happening? What exactly is the extent of the damage? And like, what are the losses? And, these are questions that lately you have been really hitting out of the park. Comics Matter, your boy Zack with Luna. That's the YouTube channel, guys. And 1,639 people watching now. Please, everyone, go subscribe to that channel. And watch his videos every day, man. It's like it's a vitamin. It's a daily vitamin of just love for comics. And I'll forever be grateful, Zach, for everything that you did for me. I don't know, when things were really, really tough for me, your channel was a kind of a signpost for me about where to go and what to do and what was going wrong and what I might be able to help do to fix it, at least in my own career, my own life. So I'm grateful to you for that. I'll always tell you that. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. I mean, the confusion of watching comics kind of die has left a lot of people in the dark, and you've been a lantern for those people, and you've suffered for it. Like I said, 1,600 people in here appreciate you for that. So thanks. Keep up the great work, pal.
Oh, thanks. And yeah, thanks for, I've thanked you before, but geez, I mean, you raised 100,000 for the lawsuit. By the way, it was absolutely insane for me to launch a lawsuit without having, because I launched it before you did that, and then you did that later. But geez, it's because we're doing stuff every month. I don't talk about it, but we're doing stuff every month. The bills are coming in every month, so that was absolutely huge. And you promoted my stuff, and yeah, so looking forward. I'm going to be back in your book tomorrow. Are you doing the DAP as the cover, or have you decided yet?
Yeah, without question, because I'm doing you've seen the famous Cyberfrog piece where he's jumping. It's just too good. Like every time I see it, I'm just like, that's McFarlane's Spider-Man. It's an important piece to kind of launch Cyberfrog. So that's going to be the main cover in foil, like in chromium. And then the Salamandroid solo piece that I did is going to be the Salamandroid variant. And then I've got this other piece where they're fist bumping, and it's just such a great fucking drawing, and I'm so proud of myself for it. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I made posters of it, and then I just thought it should be a cover. So that issue, by the way, it's going to be the best cover out of all three. That should be the final, the third at least variant cover for this book.
I don't understand. There's going to be 3 different tiers, and you can choose which cover you want.
No. You had to be early. You had to be in the first batch to get the Cyberfrog where he's jumping cover. That's dead. Those are gone. You can't get those. You had to be, you had to back the Salamandroid variant during the week that it was open to get that cover. That's gone. You can't get it. This is going to be the cover that you can get now. So I'm going to leave it open. The DAP
is cover. Okay. Yeah. So I got confused. Now I'm unconfused.
Right. I mean, it's important to limit these things. Like if you're going to do, if you're going to reopen Jawbreakers, it's got to be a new cover, and they can't get the old one. That's
so. It's going to be everything the same, because with the the fulfillment, the release of the first book really just kind of got, I don't know if I call it ruined, but close to that. I wasn't going to do it, and then just so many people wanted it and they missed out on it. So it's going to be the exact same book, except for we're going to redo some of the pages that need to be, their file needs to be re-exported.
Same cover and everything. All right.
Yeah, it's going to be the same one. Originally, I said I consider this to be a continuation to make up for the unforeseen problems. I mean, one of the things I'm pissed off on is, I lost out on, people who had 3 decades of printing and doing this type of stuff. So I had to synthesize 30 years of experience, and I made some mistakes. So people were I had a open return policy, but I feel like a lot of people didn't take me up on it because they knew if everyone asked for it, it would just make everything collapse. So I've only had like 370 requests for replacements. But I know people want it. They're just not saying it. And then some people missed out on it. So it's going to be the same book. The only thing is different is it's not going to have the tip in for the signature. That is going to be an exclusive for the first run. Because I can't just infinitely sign everything, and then an autograph has no weight. So it's going to be the same, but then after that, it's done. It's never going to be in that form again. John Malin actually has the rights for the main story, so he can do it, but it'll be with a different cover and a different format. So this will be like the last chance to get it.
Okay, well that makes sense. So people, so when do you have any idea when you're going to relaunch?
Yeah, so I can't. I know you said you're good with Indiegogo, but I'm just a regular guy, so I've got to completely fulfill this one before I can launch the next one. We've already done the replacements. We do every week. We do whoever asks for a replacement, but it's trickling off. We just approved the international. So the international they do this stuff real fast. It's probably all going to go out tomorrow. We had a little meeting today because you got to inspect stuff. They're good, but they sent me shrink wrapped with in between chipboard inside a Gemini mailer. But then people would send me pictures and it was shrink wrapped, but it wasn't tight. And the chipboard, we tweaked things. So we basically we got very specific. It needs to be like this. And so the international is going out right now. So, I mean, I think technically I could launch like next week, but I'm probably going to give it until, I'll probably do it on the anniversary of the channel and the last one. So that's April 11th, I believe.
All right, cool. Very cool. Yeah, mine's going to open up tomorrow at noon, guys. So, tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time, I'll be on here, pimping it, letting people know, advertising it and promoting it. And let's just run another little campaign here. As I finish up Cyberfrog Blood Honey, I have an editor now, Zack, who's chasing me down. It's pretty great. I have to admit.
Yeah, I've got the same thing. I found an editor to find those, mistakes. So all my future books will have an editor, unnamed, because we still have psychotic, evil enemies, but unnamed, but paid and experienced.
Love it. All right. Thanks very much, Zack. Thank you to the chat. And we'll see you again soon. I'm sure we'll have Zack on next time some big comic book related event happens. Everyone, I hope you enjoyed this. And we'll see you tomorrow for the relaunch of Cyberfrog Blood Honey. Take care, everyone.